Have you ever wondered, did the temples, castles, and bridges that have stood for centuries survive only because of stone and mortar? Or was there a darker secret hidden beneath these structures, whispered by people throughout generations? In some regions of Asia, people believed that a human sacrifice had to be buried beneath a structure for it to remain standing for a long time. But how did this belief begin? And did such things really happen? Let's look beneath the stones together. To discover forgotten mysteries throughout history, don't forget to subscribe to Chasing the Truth and like the video. Now, we are going to explore the origins of this mysterious belief. Are you ready? Let's begin. Today, this idea sounds frightening. But centuries ago, for people living in many parts of the world, it was considered a normal belief. For them, building a structure was not simply about placing stones on top of each other. A temple, a castle, or a bridge. They believed that unseen forces also needed to protect these structures so they could remain standing. Over time, this belief became known as foundation sacrifice. According to this belief, a sacrifice placed beneath the foundation would protect the structure, keep disasters away, and allow it to stand for many years. Of course, it would not be correct to say that this practice existed everywhere, because much of what we know today comes from words and traditions passed down from the past. Even so, similar accounts appearing in different regions continue to attract attention. So why did people think this way? Because at that time, they did not know the reasons behind many natural events. Earthquakes, floods, and storms were often associated with unseen forces. The fact that a structure survived for many years was not explained only by the work of builders, but also by the support of invisible powers. That is why people believed a price had to be paid to protect the structures they built. When did people first adopt this belief? There is no exact answer. But when we look into the past, we find traces of the same belief even in distant lands. The belief in foundation sacrifice did not belong to a single society. For centuries, similar ideas appeared in different parts of Asia. One of the most well-known examples comes from Japan. Here, there is an old tradition known as Hitobashira, meaning human pillar. People believed that a person buried beneath the foundations of certain bridges, castles, and dams would protect the structure. This belief was passed down from generation to generation and survived into modern times. Similar ideas also appeared in China. Ancient writings mention human sacrifices during the construction of walls and important structures. However, researchers point out that not all of these accounts can be confirmed with certainty. The same belief also appears in Cambodia, Thailand, and Vietnam. In these regions, old beliefs connected to temples, castles, and bridges continue to be passed down through generations. Even after many years had passed, this idea was never completely forgotten. Some people still believe that such events truly happened. Others think they were old beliefs that grew over time. The only thing we know for certain is this. This idea was never completely erased from memory. But was this belief limited to only one place? No. And this is where things become even more interesting. People living thousands of miles apart. They never met. They never crossed paths. Yet they believed in very similar things. The belief in foundation sacrifice did not belong to a single country. Traces of this belief can be found across many parts of Asia. One of the best-known examples comes from Japan. Here, an old tradition known as Hitobashira, meaning human pillar, is mentioned. People believed that a person buried beneath the foundations of certain bridges, castles, and dams would protect the structure. Similar beliefs also existed in China. Ancient records mention human sacrifices during the construction of walls and other important structures. However, it is not possible to say that all of these accounts have been proven with certainty. In Vietnam, traces of the same belief can also be found. This idea connected to castles and city walls continued for a long time. In Cambodia and Thailand, similar stories about temples, bridges, and castles have survived to the present day. And this is the most fascinating part. People living thousands of miles away from each other. They never met. They never knew each other, yet they believed in very similar things. Is this really just a coincidence? Or did they all come from the same fear? Perhaps part of the answer is still hidden beneath the ground. But every discovery beneath the earth brings new questions with it. Now let's look at the findings uncovered by archaeologists. Excavations carried out in different countries have uncovered human remains near the foundations of some structures. These discoveries brought the idea of foundation sacrifice back into discussion. However, it is not easy to say that these remains were definitely placed there as sacrifices, because not every skeleton found near a foundation was buried there for that purpose. Some remains may belong to older graves. Others may have been buried there during later periods. For this reason, archaeologists examine each discovery by looking at its location, the period it belongs to, and the traces found around it. Still, some findings have raised new questions about this ancient belief. Especially human remains found directly connected with building foundations have kept the debate alive. On the other hand, many historians argue that these stories may have grown over time and spread from person to person. Even today, there is no clear answer. But one thing remains certain. This mystery has continued to attract people's attention for centuries. Why did people believe in such a practice? Why did they think a price had to be paid for a structure to stand strong? There may not be a definite answer, but the stories passed down through generations give us important clues about how people in the past understood the world around them. Where written records fall silent, stories from the past begin to emerge. Across many parts of Asia, old temples, castles, and bridges are still connected with tales passed down through generations. Some people speak of unusual stories surrounding these ancient structures. Others describe strange feelings and unexplained silence around these places. Some believe these stories are connected to the old belief in foundation sacrifice. Others see them as legends that grew over time and were carried from one generation to another. In Japan, many stories about old bridges and castles have survived through the centuries. Similar tales have also reached us from China, Vietnam, Thailand, and Cambodia. Whether these events truly happened or not, we cannot know for certain. But there is one detail that stands out. Distant societies separated by thousands of miles, yet they shared the same fear, the same idea, and the same question. Could a structure truly be protected by the life of a human being? Perhaps these stories were changed versions of events that happened long ago, or perhaps they were humanity's attempt to understand the unknown. We still do not know the answer. But those ancient words were never completely forgotten. They continue to live in the shadows of old structures. So why did people believe in such things? Perhaps the answer lies in humanity's fear of the unknown. From today's perspective, understanding this belief may be difficult. But centuries ago, people gave different meanings to many events they experienced. Earthquakes, floods, storms, thunder and lightning. Many believed that unseen forces were behind these events. The survival of a structure for many years was not explained only by the skill of its builders. People believed that a price had to be paid to protect their creations. The belief in foundation sacrifice emerged from this fear. At that time, the collapse of a temple or a castle was not seen as just stones falling to the ground. It could be interpreted as a bad sign or a warning of an approaching disaster. That is why people searched for an unseen force that could protect their structures. Today, there is no definite evidence proving this belief was true. But throughout history, many societies tried to explain things they could not understand through their own beliefs. The idea of foundation sacrifice was one of those attempts. Perhaps this belief came from humanity's fear of the unknown. Perhaps it was an old idea that grew over time and survived through the centuries. We do not know the exact answer. But one question remains. How far could people go to protect the things they valued? Centuries have passed. The world has changed. Today, massive structures are built using completely different methods. But this old belief from the past has not completely disappeared. Even today, in some parts of Asia, stories about ancient temples, castles, and bridges continue to be shared. Some people tell these stories to visitors. Others pass down the words they heard from their families to future generations. So why has this idea, which appeared centuries ago, never been completely forgotten? Perhaps the most important question is not whether these events truly happened, but why people continue to carry these stories for generations. Because sometimes a single word can live longer than the structure that inspired it. And perhaps that is why stories that began hundreds of years ago still echo in people's memories today. But one question remains. Was there really a hidden truth behind these stories? Or were they simply beliefs that grew stronger as time passed? A temple, a castle, or an ancient bridge that has stood for centuries. When we look at them, do we see only stone and mortar? Or do we also see the traces of a story left behind from centuries ago? The belief in foundation sacrifice. Was it something that truly happened, or was it an old idea created by people trying to make sense of the unknown? Perhaps we will never discover the complete answer, but one thing remains unchanged. These ancient stories have survived for centuries. And they show us the fears, hopes, and the way people in the past tried to understand the world around them. If you want to discover the forgotten mysteries hidden in history, don't forget to subscribe to Chasing the Truth and support the channel. But what do you think? Are there forgotten truths hidden behind these stories? Or are they simply ancient beliefs that grew over time and passed from one generation to another? Share your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next documentary.